We've got you, Stacy, and John at least.
Okay, so
Um, yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna call to order the Joint Green Efforts Committee for November 4th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Hi, everyone.
Hello,
How are you?
good and yourself?
Good. Let's see. Are we looking to see if anybody from the public is there? I don't think so.
If anyone from the public would like to speak, please use the raise hand function. Nothing. All right. No hands raised, Amy.
Okay. Then I would like to move on. What was I going to say? There.
We we have to skip administrative because we don't have
Yeah.
a quorum. So
Okay, but I have a question.
sure.
The minutes are dated October 1st, and the agenda says
Shoot.
October 4th. And I was just trying to look it up to see what it was.
It was the first.
It was
I think I was working on them on the fourth. That's
okay.
yeah, that should be the first. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay as long as we don't have to change the minutes. This is fine.
Yeah, I think when I was doing the agenda, I was looking at this month actually, and that's why I
No
missed it.
worries. No worries. Okay, so we can't even approve the meeting schedule for next
No.
year.
Well, we can bump down, and then if we get a fourth person, we can jump back to administrative.
Okay. Um, so how about do we have anybody that can update us on the public education topics?
Not right now. I know Bree had
Yeah.
sent an article about um dark sky and that stuff. So um or if anyone wants to take a look at that, we can certainly do it in the um gotta say winter newsletter.
Okay.
Because it's more so because the spring newsletter, we get in the cleanup day, and then most of it is taken up by the budget in spring. So, um, I know, I'm trying to remember if is Earth Hour still a thing on Earth Day? Are you turn off the lights for an hour? Anyone ring a bell?
Does not ring a bell.
Okay, well, I'll check that.
So I guess the thing with the dark skies is it seems like it's most important for spring migration of the birds. So I don't
Mhm.
know if like a early winter would make sense, but I think maybe we should figure out if it's something the town can, if we want to ask the town to address, like what the town is lighting up that doesn't necessarily need to be. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the street lights need to be on for safety concerns. That's usually its intersections are the big thing. And it's not like we can individually control those lights. They're on a photo cell, so when it's dark out, the lights come on. Um, it would depend on the town buildings. I don't know all the details. I know, um, I think IAR, when we did the lights there, they're actually on motion sensors. So they dim down, and then when someone shows up, the lights brighten up. I don't know how it works for the schools, but I know for at least for our plow guys, they like it because the lights just turn on bright when they need it, and then when they don't need it, it's off or it's diminished power. I will say that is something that we do on the planning and zoning side. It's something we do implement with site plans when we can, for new commercial um, projects and residential developments, apartments at least. Because they're not town-owned lights, but motion sensors, dimming. We look for dark sky compliant fixtures in those, warmer color temperatures, which could be some of the stuff that if we want to just put that in a winter newsletter for thinking about for the spring of, you know, if you're looking to replace a light fixture or a bulb, go with something that's motion activated, so it's only on when it needs to be. Go with a warmer color because it's less, I don't want to say distracting, but it's better for the animals. It's the warmer light. It's not the cool light. Because I think that the real thing is that when people buy things with integrated LEDs like the floodlights and stuff like that, it's cool white because they're cheaper to make, and as you get a cheap fixture, so sometimes it's just, you know, think a little bit before purchasing and get something that might be a little bit more beneficial for you and for the environment, something like that. And I can chat with Bree about that as well because I know she's been writing most of them.
Great.
Sorry.
And I know Dark Sky has some guidance on color temperature and things like that. That might be good to just pull from that as a source. I'm sorry. Sorry, my dog. So pulling that from source where it talks about the color temperature, and then you can cite it at the bottom of the article saying information pulled from Dark Skies or Lights Out CT.
Great.
So
I know that when I worked for Eversource and Northeast Utilities, they were more concerned with like parking lot lights that are not showing on the parking lot, but maybe up too high. And
yes,
it's going beyond the spots that they
yes,
want lit.
yes. So
if you drive by something and you think it's that way, I'm sure that you can call and have somebody fix that.
yeah, and that's I know that's part of I think it's Lights Out CT or Dark Sky. I forget. I was looking at
Dark
some of their
skies.
model, yeah, model
Dark
ordinance
skies.
of um downcast fixtures, not up or angled lights, only
Right.
straight down
Mhm.
is ideal because it reduces light spill. We don't want even with our, again, on the planning and zoning side, even when we get commercial um plans in, we get, it's called a photometric plan. It gives you the lumens in a certain area, you know, it's a dot map of the lumens, and we need less than 1 lumen at the property line. So even so there's not light trespass over the property line. And then a good example of something is that we go for lower lumens when possible. So if you're ever in Unionville at night, and you look at uh, uh, the Shell station behind Stop and Shop versus the Mobil station across the street, the Shell station's very bright because those lights were put in before we started monitoring all that stuff. The Mobil station, they only updated the lights in the last 2 to 3 years, and so those are limited to 20 lumens, so it's a lot dimmer. You don't need that super bright light anyway because you're really just filling up. You're under canopy. There's plenty of light, but if you're driving through at night, you can see the difference of controlled, uncontrolled,
Mhm.
of dimming those lights. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Okay.
Still only at 3 people, so I don't have anything for Westwoods. I didn't hear back from, or I didn't get any information from Sam for the meeting. It is, I mean, the month just ended on Friday, so let me see if I can get something for our December meeting for October at least.
Okay.
Update. Stacy, any update on the littering or adopt a road?
Yeah, I met with a student and she said she was interested and I forwarded all the information, but I haven't heard from her. Her interest didn't quite align. Like her goals are to be a wildlife control officer, so it wasn't quite like a match for
Yeah, those aren't really, yeah.
she might be here. Who's here? No. Okay.
Do-
So I she might still be interested. So we'll see.
Okay, all right, we'll keep an eye out or
Yeah.
ear out. If you hear anything, just give me a heads up, and if or if she wants to make a presentation or anything, we can get her on the agenda or something.
Yeah, and I also encouraged her to, if there's other things that she was interested in wildlife wise, to just pitch them to us, and we'd be interested. So
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. All right. And I don't think we have any update for energy efficient reclamation for town buildings. I know Sam said he would talk with Matt Ross about the scheduling of the projectors and stuff to hopefully address that. But I don't know if there's been an update. I don't think there's an update on that.
and that would align with the dark skies too. So
Right. And again, that's a cooler light. It's the blue of the computer. It's not the same.
And that
And
was
there's Marty.
Is there anybody in the town looking into increasing the amount of solar cells that they're using on the town buildings?
Not right now. There's not really any incentives from Eversource or anyone to install them. They're quite costly, and then the other problem is a lot of the buildings have flat roofs, which adding penetrations for the panels is risky because the flat roofs need to be watertight so that the water doesn't pool and it just goes to one spot. So adding penetrations where water pools, whereas opposed to when you've got your angled roof on your house and it's kind of sheet flowing, you're less likely to get water to go right through those penetrations. So there's a concern with flat roofs of putting it in. All the schools have flat roofs essentially. I think does no Wallace have a pitched roof? I don't remember. But Union School's got a flat roof. IAR's got a flat roof. Westwood's, the high school, all has flat roofs now, which there's concerns with the penetrations through that waterproof membrane.
But it would seem to me, for instance, at Union School, there's a huge field behind there. Much of it is used by students or people for play, but certainly not all of it. And if you put a bunch of panels on the back side of that, you could generate a lot of electricity. And just like for the public, the panels pay for themselves over a few years.
Yeah, I know with Union School, it's the Fireman's Carnival. There's the fireworks as well, and then the problem is at Union School is that the panels need to face south, and south is all the vegetation along the river that can't be removed from the river. I know that because I dealt with this on a few homes in town that had to do ground mounted solar instead of roof mounted because of the orientation of their house. Their house faced east-west. They had a north-south roof line. And the math didn't work out to have it as roof mounted. You basically got 20% efficiency, where if you got a ground mounted, south facing, no trees in the way, you're getting about 80 to 90% solar efficiency throughout the year.
So would that maybe not be a good example of a place, but it seems to me that somebody should be looking for this to set an example for the town, because we made a big deal out of people getting solar, and I have solar on my house, and it pays for itself.
I think we are the somebody you're referring to, this committee.
Yes, yeah. So, we could provide more information about the incentives from Eversource and the federal government for what's available to install solar. I mean, I from my experience, I do see a fair amount of homeowners installing solar on their house. I see about 8 or 9 permits a month, I want to say, for solar. And they'll come in waves too. Like I'll get a bunch at once or something like that. So it is we do get a good amount of solar panels being put on homes in town.
Well, we do have a fourth person now.
All right. Do we want to jump back up to administrative?
Yeah. I know Martin's on mute, but
Yeah, that's fine. We can do the minutes first, then we can talk about the schedule.
okay. Okay, so did everybody get a chance to read the minutes?
Yes,
Okay.
Yep.
And anybody need a minute? Okay, can somebody make a motion to approve the minutes from October 1st, 2024?
so moved.
Second,
I can
Oh.
second.
all in favor?
Aye,
Any opposed? No, so the motion passes. Very good. Thank you. And secondly, we can do the new schedule for the Green
Yes.
Efforts
So I
Committee.
didn't, yeah, and I
Mhm.
didn't change any dates just so that way it was consistent. So I know we talked about January, Amy wouldn't be available. There's no conflict with the Board of Ed that night, so Marty should be free to lead it. But the meeting rooms aren't of it, or meeting rooms and Zoom account aren't available any other dates in January. So that makes sense. So I will keep that on the 7th. I think we talked, I don't remember if we talked about it with Green Efforts, but because of the holidays and everything like that, I can just reach out the week before, see if I'll have a quorum. If not, we just won't have the meeting.
Okay.
April was the next one.
March 4th is,
March 4th. I'm sorry.
I'm not available that date either, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's and then the following weeks are the budget for town council. So
Oh,
a meeting room wouldn't be, the council chambers wouldn't be available, and I think the town manager's office has their own account for Zoom. So that would be the only thing, but I would, again, I'd leave that as the 4th. At that point, it's more meeting to go over cleanup day at that point. So it's not necessarily that we have a quorum, it's more so that we've got people that are involved with cleanup day to help the organization, everything like that. So we make sure we're on track for April. So we'll keep that meeting definitely. I'd say it's not necessary to have a quorum. It'll be more of a focus on cleanup days. We're getting ready for that.
okay. Can I ask a favor?
Sure.
Can you, maybe not now, but seeing that I'm not going to be here in January, when you send the agenda out for January, can you put the cleanup day on the bottom of
Yeah, I mean,
so that I know when it is? I've got so many meetings.
yeah,
It's
that's what I
overwhelming.
usually start. I think January, the first meeting in January, I usually start putting it on as an agenda item. That we
Okay,
say
perfect.
cleanup day, April. So that way it's on the agenda for discussion. But I can
And I want to make
Right.
sure we start everything early enough to be prepared. Okay. All right.
yeah.
The only other date you changed was November.
Yeah, and then April we want to look at
Okay.
we don't have to decide now, just talking about it for geez. This did not translate well. I don't know what is going on here. All right, never mind. April, are we be looking for the week of cleanup day? Anyone? Because it's the same thing that we would only have the room available and the Zoom account on Thursday, the 24th of April. Because there's the town meeting, a town council meeting, and then I have a zoning board of appeals meeting on Wednesday, the 23rd. So the 24th. Cleanup day is Saturday, the 26th, which is kind of what we did last year. We did it Thursday. It was more of just organizational and
Drop the
logistics.
boxes and
Yeah. If someone was there that was going to be setting up a station, they took the container. If not, it gives me time on Friday. I've got time on Friday to just drive around and drop off the containers at people's houses if need be. That way I don't have to be in town early on Saturday morning, but if I have to, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Um, the week before is booked solid for town meeting, I can tell you that. And then the week before that is the week right after our Green Efforts meeting. So I'm assuming we'll just aim for the 24th for that special meeting.
Garrett, could I ask you a question?
Sure, John.
The new building that they put in back where the early voting has been happening,
Yes.
is that a room that's available for meetings?
Yes. It's I'm not sure how it works with the Zoom yet. It's very echoey in there because it's all wood. Um, so that's the only downside of having these kinds of meetings in there where it's more of a discussion. And then the other thing is the planning and zoning department only has one Zoom account and can only use it one at a time. And that's the schedule I'm looking at is what what days are available for our office as well for the Zoom account. Because we
So
also
even
need
if it was even if the room was available, the Zoom account may not be available for that day.
correct.
Just
Yeah.
an idea.
Yeah, no, and yeah, if there was something that came, I know this week with voting and everything, I know that I think they were doing training in the pavilion, and then they needed the council chamber set up, so that's why I literally called Amy Friday or Thursday morning in a panic. I'm like, we don't have a room. Is it okay if we go online?
But soon we'll be up at the old high school.
I don't believe so. I think we're still going to be using the council chambers at Town Hall. They're not moving the council chambers up to the 1928 building.
Okay.
So so everything stayed the same. We didn't change any dates. It'll just be January. We'll have to check for quorum. Um, February and April will be fine. I'll add in the special meeting on the 24th. And then we can change that if need be. We can make it a different date. Not a huge deal. Aside from meetings. Partially is so the meeting I have on the 23rd is zoning board of appeals. If there's no applications, we don't meet, but I won't know that until 3 weeks prior. So I can let everyone know probably at the April meeting whether I think that'll be available if anyone wants to meet on Wednesday instead of Thursday. We can look at everyone can look at their schedules at that April meeting and we can decide definitive which date works better, Wednesday or Thursday. So, if anyone has any questions, if not, we can vote on that.
So I'll move that we accept the schedule as presented.
Second? Anybody?
I can second.
Thank you. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Motion passes.
All right. So I think we covered everything else. Is there anything else?
So I did want to talk a moment about the cleanup day. And I know it seems like a long ways off, but it sort of catches up with us. In terms of looking back at what we did at the last cleanup day, there's a couple of things that I think that we can improve upon. One is a couple years ago, we made a big change so that instead of having it be a cleanup day, that Saturday was simply the day we weighed all the litter, but we allowed people to pick up litter for the entire month of April. I think that with the publications we put out about it, still emphasizes cleanup day, and it doesn't emphasize the fact that we want to encourage people to, before that day, go out and pick up trash. Somebody going out to pick up trash for 3 hours on that Saturday is helpful, but not nearly as much as they would be if they picked up trash for 3 hours every Saturday in April. And I think that we can get people to collect a lot more litter if we talk about April as cleanup month and that Saturday being cleanup way day. And those words don't necessarily have to be what we do, but emphasize the fact that that Saturday is the day we're going to weigh everybody's collection, but everybody is free to collect all month. And we would encourage people to pick up all month. So that would be the first thing I would put out. The second thing has to do with the recognition of the people who did the most. I didn't see a lot of information going out, whether it be in a town press release or in the town newsletter, that explicitly put out the names of all the people and all the organizations that participated and the ones that ended up picking up the most trash. And I think that as I talk to people, people want to have that recognition if they're going to expend their time cleaning up for the town. And I think it's a small thing to do, to put out a press release or to put out in the town newsletter the names of the people who have done the most. God bless you. So that's another suggestion. I don't know, we don't need necessarily fix these things today, but I want to bring those up as we begin to have discussions about cleanup day or way day and cleanup month, that we think about those topics.
Yeah, I remember seeing, or maybe it was at town council, we listed the winners and the items that they won.
So all the people who went to that meeting and all the council members know who did it, and the rest of the town doesn't know.
Well, yeah, I think we were a little
Would we need to
deficient
get
in that.
permission?
Yeah,
To
yeah, that's what I was gonna
publish.
say. You'd need
Yeah.
permission from anyone. Basically need a checkbox on the sign-in sheet that says, I'm fine with you publicizing my name if
Yeah.
if I win the heavy assault or something like that. Because sometimes it's people want to be private, they don't want their name out there or something like that. So that's just something we have to be cautious of. I know normally for cleanup, like Amy said, the town council, I think it's the town manager's quarterly report. They talk about the totals and the prizes and who won at that meeting. That's usually the extent of it. Just for that concern of not publicizing someone's name. Some people do want the recognition, some people don't.
Right.
It's
And the
it's
hard
up to
thing
you.
is,
Yeah.
we
I
make
don't
them
know.
sign their name because they're taking the grabbers. So they're sort of forced to put down their name. And then, there has to be a lot of clarity on whether
Right.
they would.
Yeah, and some people just want to do it. I know when I was at IAR, yeah.
And there were people that wanted to do it that never knew about it.
Right, that, and then people just wanted bags, and they brought back bags, and they didn't want to put down their name. They just wanted to do something nice. So it's really
So I
just gonna
think
need.
if there are a few people who don't want to be recognized, that's perfectly all right. We could have a checkbox next to the sign-up sheet or whatever. But I know that as a leader of the Democratic team, there was a lot of people who picked up trash on behalf of the Farmington Democrats who had no idea whether we won the award or not. And they constantly called me up because they saw no public recognition of what they had done. So I just think that I have no problem at all giving an opportunity for people to back off and be anonymous. But I think that there's a lot of people out there who are pleased that they win an individual award for picking up the most trash. And certainly school groups who win like the recognition that they picked up the most trash. And I think they deserve it.
So is there a way we can get a package together with what we sent out last year, because that was my first time ever doing this,
Mhm.
even participating in it. So, I was kind of, you know, I wish I had done a better job as chair to make sure all these things happened, but, I think we should maybe look at the items that we have and make sure that we get them out earlier. I think,
Yep.
like the flyers in my store and, in the grocery stores where people can actually see them. It doesn't help that they go out in April. They should go out in March. And by the look of our schedule, if I'm not here January and March, I think that it would be a good idea if we all had the package to look at over the winter and make some creative and, you know, firm things up a little bit. Like you said, John, I think people like the idea of doing it for the month, but nobody knows they can do it for the month. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
So,
So the two things is the flyer can't be completed until the gifts are all nailed down. So that just has to start earlier. That has to start in January, and they have to be
can't we
nailed
be
down.
generic? Can't we
What's
be
that?
generic about the gifts? Can't we just say that there will be gifts and not have to specify what they are and then put that?
Well, I guess part of it is that the business gives the gift and then they're recognized on the poster. That's sort of part of the advertising benefit that they get for donating. I think has always been the past
Right,
thought.
I think you said it right, that we can reach out to the donors quicker. And so they can sign up and still get the recognition, but have it in time for the flyers. Because I think you're right. I mean, that's one of the benefits of being a donor is getting the recognition.
Right. Well, maybe we have to get the gifts earlier.
Yep.
I mean, we didn't get them till late. So that's what I mean. I think there are a lot of things that I noticed last time that could have been improved, and then not only that, we lost a page of the ways.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if, you know,
Yeah, so
which
there's
was,
little things like
Which
that we can
site?
improve upon.
huh?
Which site?
Maine Firehouse. There were 2 pages of data, but only 1 page made it through to us.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people didn't get recognized who were on that second page.
Right. So I'm not sure how to make people not lose pages. But
We got to set up a form, staple
or we
3 pages together, and if they
or we
don't
can
fill
simply,
out the 3 pages, that's fine. But we can work on. I mean,
or we can take
that
that
needs
form
to
and
be
put it online.
improved. That needs to be
We-
improved.
We could take that form and make it an Excel spreadsheet and put it on a computer. And so instead of writing down everything on the page, we just enter it in the computer.
Yeah, but then somebody
Yeah.
Nobody's
has to
gonna
enter
do
it on
that.
the computer.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
need a computer, you need someone needs to send it. So it's the paperwork's out fine for the day because you don't have to worry about the weather, you don't have to worry about power, you don't have to worry. It's paper and pen.
Yeah,
I don't know where that page went. I went through the bin multiple times. I could not find an extra page. So
I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but I think going forward, we need to be aware that
Right.
to avoid that situation again.
Right. And the final thing and I just thought about this as we were talking. On those pages, we write down exactly how many pounds people bring in, and we can add up all those pounds, find out how much trash we picked up. Instead, what we've been doing is weighing the trucks, weighing the dumpsters. And I'm not sure about how all the sites are, but I know that at the Tunxus Firehouse, most of the weight in that truck was brought over from the Congregational Church, who was cleaning out their rooms. And I'm sure that there are people dumping trash into those bins all over the place that are not trash being picked up. And we go through all that trouble of weighing all those individual individual litter that people bring in, and we should add them up to find out what the totals are, not just weigh the bins.
Right,
Food
but
for
the
thought.
maximum weight of an individual item is limited to 25 pounds, so that's why we use the truck weight. If 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 people are
Sort of.
dumping stuff not from cleanup day, then we should probably be telling them they can't put it in the truck. They have to dispose of it on their own,
Right.
if that's the concern.
Yeah. I didn't see any issues with that really, because, the church that was doing their cleanup day, that was throwing it in our truck. I mean, we knew what we were putting in it.
Right, but we knew what we were putting in there, but when our totals got put forth, it wasn't the totals that we put in there, it was the totals that we put in there plus the church put in there.
Hmm.
And they weren't picking up litter around their grounds. They were taking books out of their library and
Yeah.
throwing them away and
Well,
putting them
maybe
in those
we
bins.
maybe we
And
should tell them that's not the purpose. It's heavy
well,
trash pickup that time too, so I don't know
so
why
I
they just put it out for that.
so I didn't have any problem with them dumping their stuff there.
Yeah.
It's a good service for us, good community
No,
service that we
I,
can provide.
I agree, but you got to
But to
figure
make it,
out how. Yeah,
I mean,
it's all stuff to think about.
people do collect heavy stuff, so it's the only way that we can measure that, because it's not the glass scales don't work for something heavy because you have to hold it, and the
Right.
luggage scales that we got that were great for the most part do have a weight limit of, I think it was like 40 or 50 pounds, more than 50 pounds, but there was some heavy stuff that we had some issues with those. So it's just it's fine for like I said, we count large, heavy singular items as 25 pounds each, and then we get the
right,
total for cleanup day from the highway department that weighs the trucks.
And what really matters is how the town looks at the end of the day. I mean, it's not, you know,
that's right.
if there's a couple extra, if there's a couple extra 100 pounds of books in there and we're saying that we cleaned it up and we didn't, like, is it worth splitting hairs over?
Mm-mm. No, not at all.
The
All
other
right.
thing I'm gonna, like, I know John and I disagree on this, and I'm just gonna say that as the person who is on, like, and you're standing at the table, and I know you guys did in the past, if we got a lot of people to clean up for the whole month, then the little groups of kids and the groups of employees that are making a day of it, like, there still does have to be enough easy to get, especially with like the littles, trash out there. Like there has to be areas that you can send the Girl Scouts to on cleanup day, because if groups start going out and there's not enough to clean up, then you lose momentum over time because people don't want to show up for cleanup day because the town's already clean. So like there's this balance of like, if we really advertise it as a whole month, then we're going to lose the momentum of the day. And I think in the end, you'll end up with less cleanup.
How
We can
long?
agree to disagree, but that is where like people get mad when they come to clean up and you send them someplace and it's clean.
Yeah.
And then they don't come back.
So
How
to
long
me,
have you been
to me,
doing
the
this?
idea is cleaning up the town, and if we can clean up more of the town by having people do it for the whole month, that'd be better than having some disappointed kids who didn't find the trash that they wanted. And I would say from my, they can always find a spot.
Like I said, agree to disagree.
Okay,
Well, this is how long have you been doing this? Cleanup?
Cleanup day has been around for 25 years,
Oh my
26
gosh.
years. We had the committee hasn't been doing it that whole time. It started with the Farmington Garden Club, I think.
yes,
I think it was Kate and Bree
Yeah.
actually that first started it with the Garden Club. And then I don't know when Green Efforts took over. I know Green Efforts started around 2009, I want to say.
probably something like that. It just became too much
Yeah.
of a burden for the garden because it got too
Right.
big.
Right. And it works out because we work with the town, we get the highway guys with the trucks and everything like that. And it works out with, it lines up with hazardous waste and bulk pick and all that stuff. So yeah, I think Green Efforts it's been over 10 years. I know that Green Efforts has been doing it.
All right. Well, anything we can do beforehand? You know,
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
always a proponent of working on things.
yeah, I
before-
could. I mean, I can put cleanup day on the December agenda. We can start talking about it next month.
Right.
Yeah,
And who keeps the packages of forms? Like, is there one central place where everything goes?
I mean, all
Like
this,
the bins and stuff
yeah,
like that.
all the supplies and everything are at town hall. In the garage, we have a garage, a maintenance garage on site, so everything's in there. The signs, the supplies, extra supplies. We've got a bunch of bags still. I'll go through that in like February or March. See what we got, see what we need. Um, and then I think Stacy's been doing the forms, the sign-in sheet.
Yeah, and we talked a lot last year about revamping the information that's on there so it's clear who's picking up for what group and
which I think I can grab the minutes from that. I think it was May meeting, May or June.
I did take a stab at redoing those.
Yeah, so I think so we talked about it I think it was our May meeting about improvements for the next cleanup. So I'll grab those minutes for our December meeting so we can start
Okay.
looking at that just to refresh everyone's memory.
yeah. One of the things to think about, and Stacy, you just mentioned the fact that the forms don't really have a way to put down the groups. And I think that it's the forms didn't change as we introduced the concept of groups. Because when cleanup day first started, in fact, even when the Green Efforts Committee was doing it, the concept of having people pick up in groups hadn't started yet. They were picking them up individually. And so the forms, at least the forms we were using last year and the year before, didn't have a column to put down their group. And so those are things we can improve upon.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yep. No, that's all good. It's a lot of good comments. So thank you all for thinking about it. We got plenty of time to think about it and try to make it better.
yeah, I'd like to see more scouting, more teams.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we could go back to our records to see, what groups have participated in the past and make sure we got an email or whatever to that group, inviting them to join again.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Boy Scouts. I know that's
The Boy Scouts, also the high school, some of the high school groups were very active, but sometimes they weren't.
The
I'm not sure
volleyball team last year was great.
yes. And Miss Porter's is always good.
Yeah, I think it was their long weekend this year or something, so they didn't participate. Normally they do. They collect like over 100 pounds normally, but there's something came up this year. I remember talking to someone from there.
Yeah, the people on Main Street in Farmington are very lucky. They get cleaned up pretty good.
All right. Anything else?
So I'll move, we adjourn.
Amy, you're muted.
I have a cough. I didn't want you guys to hear it
I
bubble.
think it might have worked out. I think everyone's got something going on today.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been in person for sure.
Yeah. So I apologize if I'm a little off tonight. So
No, you're fine.
anyway, yeah, so we have a motion to adjourn. Anybody want to second it?
I can second it.
Okay. Anybody opposed? I always laugh at that. Who would be, right? And okay, motion passes. We are now adjourned at 7:45.